Welcome back, baseball fans, to 1980-83 draft results for the second round. We begin with the team drafting first, which is your Seattle Mariners. We actually got the stacks here, so we're just going to do it this way. They took Kingman in the first round. They also got Jose Cardinal in that deal, who at 340 with the Cubs. So, well, yeah, they had the best DH in baseball. Good for them. And in the next round, they would take Bruce Bochy from his year of 82, and that meant that they could take Rupert Jones in the sixth round, even though he wasn't with the Mariners anymore, but heck of a card. Not bad. So, after their first round surprise pick, they got a little more solid there. Twins added Tom Bernansky in the first round. In the second round, they added this Butch Winninger. Hey, this is a Yankee catcher. So it's good to see the little guy stealing a Yankee player there. And they decided to improve Mickey Hatcher into his 83 card as well. Going from a 250 hitter to a 317 hitter. So good news for the Twins. They need it. Colorado Rockies next. They took the pitchers Pena and McWilliams in the first round. Here they go to the 1980 box for 2. And even though the Strat-O-Matic overran their printer ink there, I took Champ Summers. I'll often skip a year if the print doesn't look good, but his stats are too good to ignore. So Champ Summers had a heck of a nice year in 80. And then they also took Sid Manji going to the bullpen. Now they're locked up all the necessary lefties they need. Good sit-up guy for Ron Reed. Next team is the Padres, and they went a little sentimental. They went with Lawler De Leon in the first round, but in this round, only one guy. They're bringing him back to San Diego, Gaylord Perry. And actually, they made a composite card for him. It says Yankees, but it's with a couple different teams in 1980. He can pitch in 3 days rest. So probably his last year, frankly, it was between him and Randy Jones, both sort of, tailing at the end of their careers. And so they went with Perry over Randy Jones. All right, the Red Sox, having a great draft. Oh, yes. So, after going for Rice, my goodness, and improving Wade Boggs, they then decided to land Freddie Lynn's last year in Boston before he gets shipped to the Angels. B. Steeler, 1980 for Freddie. And Yaz, his 80 year as well. Now he can go to DH or first base, but he's getting up there, of course. But he's still Yaz. He'll play for the Red Sox forever. And then next up we have Florida. What the Marlins do. Oh, this is a nice little pick here. They just added one guy. After adding Pascual Perez in the first round to be their ace, they added Ivan De Jesus to play shortstop. So, believe it or not, this team, always defensively challenged, has McRae DH, Diaz catching. Now Richie Hebner's moved to first. Bonilla is second. Hoffman played some short last year. Now he goes back to third, and De Jesus at short. So they're starting to solidify Guerrero in the outfield. So they're starting to solidify a little bit what they want to do with all their moving pieces. The Detroit Tigers. Okay, I respect the one move here. They went Aurelio Lopez, Lou Whitaker in the first round. So they're still getting ready for the 84 World Series by moving Lance Parrish into his best card of 82. So they'll have that by... Yeah, that's pretty phenomenal for a catcher. And you know what? They let Ron LaFleur hang around. After a year in Montreal, and then he goes to the White Sox. They said they'll hold on to him. He's not going to play defensively anymore. They're going to make him a DH. A speedy leadoff DH. Getting on base in front of Whitaker and Trammell and all these other goons on the Tigers. Smart play. Keeping them in Detroit. Nice little story there. And the eighth team, and I'll take a little break before I go to the next 8. The Cubs went Lee Smith, Pat Tabler, round 1. In this round, they solidified this really good bullpen with Joey McLaughlin. So now they got Lee Smith closing, McLaughlin, Hickey, and Dennis Kinney setting up. And they did indeed get Julio Cruz away from Seattle. He goes to the North Siders, not the South Siders. And something the Cubs have not had. He was still a Mariner anyway. They might send him across town because he played for the White Sox in 1983. Take a little break, and then we'll give you the next group of teams. All right, next up are the Blue Jays. They took Landreau Mosby in round 1. This round, they went to 1980, took traditional players for them in that timeline. Left side of the infield, they took Roy Hal, Alfredo Griffin. Hal, a third baseman, hit both sides, not much defense. Rangy Alfredo Griffin, but his batting average comes down a little bit. But eventually they'll have Tony Fernandez, just not quite yet. Next up, Ohio players improved. Mumphrey and Hendrick in the first round. They got some nice little pieces here out of 82. Little kind of pieces. They got this guy, Julio Gonzalez. Interesting piece. Look at the extra base hits in a platoon role. Need a middle infielder, and he defines all that. And so, yeah, he can play second, play third. He's got power there that can't hit well. Hits well here with all these extra base hits. Neat little card for him. And then Mike Easler needed help defensively. He got it. So Landrum will come in late in games to catch the balls that Mike Easler can't get to. So Easler, Landrum platooning in left with Mumphrey and Hendrick in center and right. That's some logic. Smart play for a team that goes for flash more than stability, I guess. Giants being a little tentative in this draft. They're only making one selection at a time, which you have to respect. They're patiently waiting to see how the board plays out, which is why some teams jump on 2 guys at once, and some teams decide, I'm not going to lock my second player up in that particular round. So they went Burleson, and now, interestingly enough, they got Darrell Evans. They improved him to his 83 card, where he's just a monster, but look at the good defense at first. Still capable to play third. They already have Dale Berra, who's not much really, but he can play defensively at third. So you've got Evans at 2 at first, Morgan at second, 3-10, Berra at third, Burleson at short. Pretty much just need to add another hitter here for Dale Berra to play third, you know. And yeah, that's pretty versatile. The Pirates. All right, so they did Parker and Stargell in round 1, trying to bring the old band back together for one last run. So they improved Tekulve. They didn't improve him. They drafted Tekulve. His 79 card was up, so they moved him into a 4-year contract with an 83 card with the Pirates. Outstanding closer, even better than he was in 79. And then they improved Rick Rhoden. So Rhoden's ERA was 4 a year ago. Now it's 3.09. So now they got a better version of Rick Rhoden and Jim Bibby. So they're making some strides here. That's not going to be a good future for the Pirates, I don't think, moving into the early 80s. White Sox. So the White Sox sort of discovered that they can't field. And you know what? They can't really do much about it either. So there's just too many bad defensive players playing for the White Sox. I don't know, maybe they've got ruts in their infield or outfield grass that hurt things. So they just said, we don't care about defense anymore. It's not worth the trouble trying to get the best guys. We just took Jim Morrison and his wretched defense at second. Because look, 640 plate appearances with 15 homers and 283 average, 40 doubles. Can't penalize a guy because, you know, the infield's all torn up or whatever. And then they have, he doesn't go to New York. He stays right in Chicago. Oscar Gamble, this monster card here. And I'm not really even concerned about his defense in left field because we have Rusty Kuntz platooning with him defensively. Oh, and they made another small little move. I forgot to mention this. This is pretty good. We had one trade that happened at the end of the first round. The Dodgers traded Rudy Law for Bill Naharodny and a draft token. And the plan for the White Sox is to improve Rudy Law to one of his White Sox years of 82 or 83 later in this draft. So that's actually a pretty darn good get. And the whole picture, you got Essien, you need a first baseman. Second, Soderholm's getting old at third. Probably could use a shortstop too. Yeah. A lot to do in Chicago, unfortunately. But hopefully by 1983, they'll have most of those pieces in place. The Dodgers, simple move here. They added one of their keystone infielders, and it was Ron-Cey. After doing Garvey and Russell in round one, they're saving Lopes for later. But Ron-Cey, outstanding year in 81. Eventually gets traded to the Cubs. Arizona Diamondbacks, only one addition here. They needed a player in the year of 82. They went into the rookie class eligible. And they found a left-handed reliever, Ed Vandenberg. Here's the guy Arizona found. A very nice relief pitcher. Oops. Yeah. 2.37 ERA. They already have LaRoche. They have two very good lefty setup guys with Salome Barojas in between. So not bad for Arizona. That's a smart play. Solid late in games if you can get a lead. That's the point. You have to get a lead. Kansas City. Well, they needed a center fielder. No shocker here. They just brought back Amos Otis. Kind of a little bit controversial that Otis did not like the move to left field when Willie Wilson arrived. So believe it or not, in 82, he only plays center field, and he's darn good at it. They don't even have him at left or right. So I don't know if Wilson moved back to left to accommodate this guy or what. But in any event, Wilson's not here. He's on the Yankees in a trade. And you know what? The Kansas City Royals will be fine. Again, they got Akins, of course, Wathan and Brett and Frank White, Brett, Washington, all their best cards, Butch Davis, Otis. Yeah, this is just a loaded team. In their World Series year of 80. So they got to make it happen. All right, that's half the round. We're going to take a break and go to the next group of 8. The St. Louis Cardinals. And boy, they've been doing some good stuff. After getting Hernandez's last big year in St. Louis, along with Templeton's last big year in St. Louis, they leaped over the World Series year and went into 1983 to improve Tommy Herr to his best year before 85, which is the 323 year. So you've got 321, 323, and 319 guys. And Ken Oberkfell will probably hit 300 at third base. Ooh. Next up, Texas Rangers. What did they do? Okay. Well, they had the rights to Larry Bittner, and they exercised them because he's pretty good. He's a 310 hitter in a platoon, plays infield and outfield. In an era in the National League didn't have a DH, but he becomes a decent one. And that's the Larry Bittner pick. Okay, next up, Atlanta. Oh, we have a guy going to change teams. So Atlanta in their individual season draft of 82 acquired Bob Brenly, and he is going to launch his career with the Braves. So this is going to not go to San Francisco. So he's going to start his career with the Braves and see how long he lasts there. Interesting. Bruce Benedict is gone. He went to Seattle. So catchers form a chain of where they exodus from, and Brenly ends up here. They also, in 82, they added Jerry Royster. One of his best years, 295. Second baseman, third baseman, a Steeler. So, yeah, that's nice stuff for the Braves. Next up, Oakland. Remember I said the Pirates never did something with the Weir family Pirates in 79? Well, Oakland's attempting it because they just took Phil Garner and Tim Foley. That was the double play combination for the 1979 Weir family Pirates. Just one little problem. It's 1982, and Phil Garner's an Astro, and Tim Foley is an Angel. But that's all right. Little late is better than never. So Garner and Foley are teammates in the infield with Wayne Gross stuck in there with Keith Drumright. They'll figure it out. It's Oakland. They're not, their star is fading, I guess you could say. Hey, we got the Vegas team. They had the Commissioner Award. Who did they take? Well, they needed a center fielder, and they took the first guy off the waiver pool. And it's this guy, Bill North. They needed a leadoff guy, they needed a center fielder. This guy does both those things and is a switch hitter. Batting average says 251. I wouldn't worry about it because of all those walks will make up for it. You want your walks out of a center fielder who was a Double-A stealer. That was the Commissioner Award pick. Then, when it was their time to draft, they improved. Oh my goodness, folks. They improved John Denny. They had his 81 card, but in 1983 with the Phillies, he does this. 19-6, 237. So, this Las Vegas team. They had oh my goodness, this is a nice little baseball team here. 300 hitter, 300 hitter, 300, 300. They got North and Winfield, and they got Denny, and they got some nice pieces here on Las Vegas. The Mets. Oh, the Mets are making some moves. They're doing what the fans want to do. Maybe not what the general manager wants to do. But they took Darryl Strawberry and Jesse Roscoe in the first round from 83. And believe it or not, they've already moved Strawberry to designated hitter in his first year, even though he's capable in the outfield. But they created a logjam when, even though they had the rights to Lee Mazzilli and Joel Youngblood's on the team, they added Mookie Wilson to their outfield. So Youngblood's in right. Wilson's in center. When they draft Mazzilli, he'll be in left. Strawberry has to DH. So it's a good thing to have. Too many good players on New York. And they, of course, added Ray Knight to play third base. Oh, my goodness. Boy, this Met team transitioning rather well out of the 70s into the 80s. It might not happen this year, but by next year, we're going to add Dwight Gooden and possibly Ron Darling to this team, and the Mets will be ready for a World Series run. All right, Baltimore. Just one pick. They're also being very conservative. They only improved Cal Ripken, so this is the first player they've added to their team, and it's Eddie Murray. And they picked his 82 season with 32 homers, a .316. I think that's a career-high batting average, and of course his brilliant defense at first base. Yeah, that'll be his best card. Maybe 84 is his best Baltimore card ever. I'm not sure about that, but we'll just say 82 for now. And be pretty happy for the Orioles. Again, it's only 2 rounds of the draft. You're only supposed to take 2 guys. It's just that other teams call in other picks to the commissioner when they're available. Cleveland took Hargrove in the first round, and they doubled up here. Oh, this is nice. The H-Boys. So there's Hargrove. Where's Hara? There's Hara. They took Toby Hara to play third base, 82. They have Hargrove and Heath and Hasse. And they also took another H guy to pitch, Don Hood, who originally there was going to be a reliever, but then realized here he's a relief starter 6. So this is insurance. If you're not able, this is the only pitchers they have right now. So if you're not able to find a left-handed starting pitcher, ideally you want to find a left-handed starting pitcher and pull Hood out and stick him in the bullpen. And then get 2 more right-handed relievers to join him and Rod Scurry. So at least, worst case scenario for the Cleveland Indians, they do have somebody who can start for them as a lefty. All right, now take a pause, and the final group of 8 in the second round. Here we go with the Houston Astros. Oh boy, this pitching staff. So they added Necro and improved Dave Smith, and then they just added, don't worry about the hitters. They just added Joe Necro. So you have Nolan Ryan, 169. You have J.R. Richard, 189. You got Joe Necro, 247. This isn't the dead ball era of 68. This is like the early 80s. So this is a very frightening team the Astros have. And of course, Dave Smith and Sam Beto are untouchable. They do, however, need to get a left-handed starting pitcher. So if I'm the rest of the National League, it's like that's what you do. It's like you make sure they don't get that. Like all the other teams in the National League should start drafting left-handed pitchers until there's none left when it's Houston's turn to draft again. All right, the Yankees. Are the Yankees? Houston, yeah, then the Yankees. Oh, I put the wrong card up. That's what it was. All right, the Yankees did that Bryn Smith move in the first round. So they decided just to solidify their 81 World Series team. And they did it with Ron Guidry. Amazing card here in 81. And then they also decided to go to Greg Nettles. Just solid, World Series caliber guys for the Yankees. Trying to desperately to get back to a World Series. Trying to get to a World Series. The Brewers. Okay, so they decided to go into their 82 box, which is their World Series year. And good for them, they decided to improve Jim Gantner. And why not, right? Why can't he get into the fun? Gantner had a 267 card. Not anymore. They bump him up to his 82 card, so he has his best year, Yount's best year, Molitor in one of his best early years before injuries hit him. And of course, Cooper's brilliant 1980. And they also took Caldwell in 82. 17-game winner would be. I think he's probably starting game one of that World Series, if I had to guess. Maybe not. But, yeah, that's what the Brewers did. They took guys from their World Series heyday. And why blame them? The Big Red Machine. Oh, I like these moves. So after adding Bench and Foster in the first round, they improved Brett Butler, who actually was a Brave, not anymore. And they also have Lee Lacy, who was actually a Pirate. They have stolen some players, folks. But they made Brett Butler an everyday center fielder and a 1 in left with a -2 arm. And they also added a nice little lefty, Bill Scherer, to their bullpen. One of the bright spots in 83 for the Reds. They're probably going to make Mario Soto improve to his 82 card. Get Concepcion and Griffey on the team, and same old Reds challenging for the World Series. All right, the final four. California Angels. I don't know how this team always goes to League Championship Series. It just seems like the puzzle pieces don't fit. But whatever, they took Brian Downing, who's really good. And frankly, it got rid of the logjam they had at catcher because they are still employing Biff Pocoroba and Tim Blackwell. If you want two switch hitting catchers on the same team, the Angels have it. And they added a reliever, Luis Sanchez. Oh, and by the way, if you watch the League Championship Series, we mentioned that Paul Mitchell and John Curtis were in the bullpen and they weren't trusted. They didn't like them. Well, now they're in the rotation. So now you trust them as starting pitchers. Curtis is a starter 7, Mitchell's a starter 6, joining Forsch and Mike Witt. A 4th straight trip to the League Championship Series? Whew, that's a big ask. Big ask, California. I don't know. Portland. Oh, yeah, they were in the League Championship Series, and the question is, how do we take the next step? Well, they went into their pitching, and they took a guy from 1982, this guy, John Stuper. Well, he pitched the 1982 World Series, right? That should make some logic. That's his stats. He's okay. They needed a starting pitcher, and that's what they got. So there you go. And they could just say, hey, we did the analytics. He went to a World Series, so we decided to take him. Okay. Philadelphia. The Phillies. Oh, yeah. Bringing back the old guard some more. So they added Pete Rose and Larry Boa. This time they went after Greg Gross, another 300-year. And the Greg Gross designated hitter era can commence at any time. But look, he's still better defensively than Lonnie Smith. So the Phillies, of course, get the benefit with the DH probably more than any other team with those guys. And they added a nice reliever. They struggled in the bullpen a year ago with Roy Thomas and Dick Drago. So they added this guy, former Philly, current Cub, Warren Brewster, with a nice year in 83, helping out Tug McGraw. So hopefully bringing a familiar face back to the Philly bullpen will help Tug and the Phillies get back to the World Series. And last, but certainly not least, your World Champion Expos. They took Steve Rogers and Gary Carter in the first round, and they improved another player. So they're making high-stakes gambles on trying to do a repeat. And the high-stake gamble is they improved, already a great player, they improved Tim Raines. And you're like, how? Well, he was a .304 hitter and a AAA stealer. And he's a AAA stealer again 2 years later. He was a AA at 82. And his average drops a few points, but it's that defense in left field. He's now a 2E4 in left field. He was a 4+1 E8. So now you got capable, reliable defense out of Tim Raines joining Andre Dawson and Cromartie in the outfield. So I'm all for it. I'm all for what the Expos are doing. Trying to repeat. Taking some risks. Why not? You already have the World Series trophy. Take some risks in the draft. Bump guys up to improve cards. And don't worry if you're filling out the roster late with guys in free agency. That's it for the second round of the draft. 2 rounds done. Third round coming up. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you soon.